I'm Shelly Kapoor, and I'm currently at the COVID-TED Valedictory Tech Show, which is being organized or has been organized by ICCCMB. We have a very distinguished guest with us today who's been part of this entire journey and has been instrumental in hosting this tech show, Hrithika Maramparli. Rithika is the head corporate relations with the ICCCMB. Rithika, very warm welcome.
Thank you, Shelly.
Rithika, my first question is, head for corporate relations, what exactly does your role entail?
Actually, I take care of the communications and all our branding activities. Primarily, I joined as the communications manager. So, but as the organization progressed, I also started handling a lot of the corporate relations. Basically, I'm handling a lot of our, administrative work and a lot of other works that we do with the corporates, especially like with CSR. So basically, it just grew into that. Also, I take care of the internal relations. So all of those things became a whole package, and it became a head of corporate relations.
Talk about either an example or a case study where an incubator, such as yours, and the corporate worked together to achieving a common goal, thereby creating a win-win for both.
Actually, there are plenty of, these kind of examples. One that I can talk about is about ourselves. So we have a few companies with us, which are established companies. Basically, those are into pharmaceuticals, but now they're also starting their own biotechnology department. So they have taken some space with us. They have, curated a team here, and the teams work out of this particular incubation center. Now, although I may say that it is a collaborative effort, but in those ways, especially when you're talking about pharma companies or somebody who does not have their own R&D facility or does not have that kind of expertise, incubators like ourselves help them do these things. Then of course there are plenty of, like, if I talk about CCMB itself, like our parent organization. So the first pneumococcal vaccine that was developed in India by Shanta Biotech, that was developed as a collaborative project with CCMB.
Wow,
so
wonderful.
Yeah, so those kind of things happen a lot here. And of course, if you talk about the COVID times, primarily CCMB was one of the first organizations which was charged with taking care with identifying the virus, doing the test kits and all of those, validating the test kits. So AICCCMB also helped a lot in that. A number of companies, they validated their kits with us. We were also validating air purifiers, masks, all of PPE kits. So a lot of things we did in a collaborative effort with the industries in a sense, to make sure that their products are safe, one, and they're reaching the markets in time.
If all of this were to be explained to, let's say, a layman, right? And by this, I mean the collaboration between an incubator or a startup and the corporate. How would you describe the participation of the incubator and the participation of the corporate in this entire ecosystem? And, is it encouraging? Are the corporates open to collaborations, and what is in it for them?
No, absolutely. See, we are world over, actually, this is being noticed that, one thing is that startups are very agile. They are very dynamic and they can immediately pivot. This is what COVID also taught us.
Because of their small size.
Yes, their small size, they can pivot easily. Second thing is that, especially when you talk about an organization, when it wants to set up its own R&D unit, wants to get into some new businesses, there are a lot more things that actually go into it. And the cost for that particular company to get into a new product line is so huge that most of the companies don't even want to try it unless and until you're a big MNC like an HLL or a Procter & Gamble or something like that. You will have your own research units, but otherwise I know of companies here in India, large companies, which actually look at startups, to provide that initial, the ideation, the validations and all of those things. And what they do is that they will try and buy it out. So the entire market is actually like, especially for startups, this is a very big exit. That their products get acquired. And I know of a very large Indian company which actually comes out with its own funding. It has its own venture fund and a big startup arm. It will only look at startups which align with their businesses. And I was a part of that particular project some 3 years ago, and I know that their new business that they're coming up with, they just recently launched it, and it's again a big game changer in the market, was because of the kind of startups that we also introduced them to, the startups that they invested in with us. So we know that these things are happening. And first, for a startup, of course, it's a win-win situation, because they're getting the money, they're getting the exit, and they are getting to do what they want to do. And for a corporate, it's a more agile and a more cost-effective way to get into new businesses.
Wonderful, thank you. Any gaps or challenges, and I'm sure there are some, in bridging the gap? Any gaps or challenges in bringing the startups and the corporates together?
It used to be a lot of challenge, but as the ecosystem is maturing, a lot of corporates are interested. A lot of corporates, are looking at this kind of a, situation, and they are looking at, looking at startups in those ways. A lot of if I talk about some small corporates, even in infotech and all. They are now looking at startups, to support startups, maybe through some small monies. If they are not able to do by, funding them, some of them, with us, there's a company called Blaze as well. So, they are into data analytics. But they have some CSR funds, and they're supporting startups, in healthcare, because they are good at analyzing data, and healthcare also brings out data. So they want to help the startups that ways. So in some way or the other, they are also looking at startups which align with their businesses or which are completely new. So everybody, I think, has started looking at that. And now as I know that, a lot of corporates also are, for their senior leadership, they're trying to bring in founders, like people who've been entrepreneurs before. That when you have a founder who's been an entrepreneur before, it opens up a whole new avenue, a whole new, horizon of, entrepreneurship, which brings a maturity within the organization to look at startups and for industrial collaborations with incubators. So that is a positive change that we are seeing. It's happening slowly, but it is happening, and it's good to see that.
So these are the changes that are happening. But if you were to, let's say, name the top 2 challenges, or even let's say the topmost challenge that you have come across and witnessed in getting corporates and startups together, what is the topmost or top 2?
The topmost challenge, of course, is the licensing issues. So because basically a regulatory and by the time the companies finish their regulatory, they definitely get into patents and all, but how they approach a patent and how a company looks at a license is different. So there are a lot much more documentation that needs to be done from the startup side, which the corporates want. That is a gap that is there. And that is one of the primary reasons why a lot more deals are not happening. But this is one of the primary things that we're seeing. The second challenge that I would say would be more, it's just negotiations. Sometimes, especially with entrepreneurs, there are a lot many things that have to go in. And if it is a single, founder company, these are challenges that startups need to address. But at the end of the day, every negotiation takes to 6 years to 6 months to about a year. It is a slow journey, but I think maturity is required from both the ends, which I think incubators like ourselves are trying to also address. We are helping these startups, see their flaws early on, especially when it comes to team, because one of the things is that any company is not investing in the product, it is investing in the
people.
Team. Yeah. So we try to work with the team as well, and yes, we are seeing a lot of maturity in those ways coming in about.
What would be your message to the corporates for collaborating with the ICCCMB?
So I do a lot of this, I go for a lot of outreach events, I go for a lot of networking events and all. And I also, so I see that, it's always a challenge, corporates want to understand, they are interested, but they want to understand how they can work. So I would just want to say that, let's start a dialogue. Because we cannot suggest something that you don't want, and you cannot expect something that we are not doing at all to get there. But let's start a dialogue, because we are, as I said, that we are more agile, we are flexible, and we can get you the things that we want. I have this mantra, like we keep on saying in our incubation center, we are like Hogwarts. Ask and you will get it. So that is what my only message is, that if corporates are interested in working in biotechnology and life sciences, please let's start having a dialogue. We can start working on a project together.
You were there in the corporate earlier?
I was.
How many years in the corporate were you?
I think it was almost 8 years.
How different are you finding it in the startup ecosystem?
I kind of tell the startups that I would like the founders, if they have come from a structured corporate background, to only get into start inculcating those kind of disciplines into the
and processes.
Yes, because what happens if you look at if you think of a startups, you think of the founders coming in shorts, coming in at any time, start working in the night at 2 o'clock and 3 o'clock. It doesn't work, especially when you're trying to build a team. So your team, if you don't have discipline, your team is not going to have discipline, and you need to work on strict timelines. It is extremely important, one, for the confidence of the investor, and for your own product development. So I would really like to have those kind of these startups to start inculcating those kind of structures into their organization. I actually do do these sessions where we call in some HRs and everybody and tell them these are the things that you should try, and this is how you build your team, this is how you start put a timing for the whole team. We know that you want to work any hours, but it's better to have something. So that is something that I really want startups to do. And even in my own organization, I have put in some processes. Of course, as the team grows, there are a lot of labor issues and other compliances that we have to take care. So by default, you have to become a little more process oriented.
More around how are you finding the change?
Oh,
personally for yourself.
No, for personally, it was a very, very conscious decision from my side that I wanted to leave corporate, and I wanted to get into something like this, because even before I took the decision of that I wanted to quit my corporate job and then I wanted to get into something like this, I was already engaging with the ecosystem. I put in my own money to to do a project that I wanted to I just wanted to have something on my resume to show that demonstrate that I have done this. So yeah, it was a very conscious kind of a change for me. And I've been an entrepreneur for the age of 18, so this is something that is my baby. It's something that I take care of. I'm very, very possessive about it as well.
You find it more satisfying, gratifying?
Absolutely. This is like it's not a joke, when you say that love your what you do, and you'll never work a day. It's like that for me. So right now I'm in a very happy zone. Yes, there is a lot of stress. Absolutely, there's a lot of stress, but I enjoy it. And I'm very happy to say that no 2 days are the same for me. So which is something very few people can say, actually. So yeah, that's about it.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Hrithika. Anything else that you would like to add from your end?
No, I think I've covered a lot. So that's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much once again. This is Shelly Kapoor with Hrithika at ICCCMB.
To stay informed about the startup ecosystem, subscribe to My Startup TV.